will be named after the leader. Sometimes they just give it a name. Like Nitrate Gangster Bloods have a set called the Hellraiser set. It's different sets. They just give them names. So here you see some of the names associated with the original three. The most important one here is the 9.5 Killer Shine set. And
the screen in front of you is a touch screen, so you can touch it and it will show where you're looking at.
Yeah, so 9.5 Killer Shine, that one stood out to me.
Why so?
Because in the messages located on the phone between
the 9807 phone number and
between the 9807 phone number and G-Shine numbers that were identified, Gino being Derek Dixon, Herc or Q-Shine being Jaquan Burton, and the person they listed as their godfather being a subject named Stretch, who was identified as Keith Stevens.
Okay.
Yeah, Keith Stevens. His name is Stretch, and Stretch has been documented as in multiple federal indictments as the leader of the 9.5 Killer Shine blood set. Oh. So that corroborated past investigations.
Okay. So when you're talking about like calls and responses, you mentioned that the information will have kind of the translation. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so right here, this is a way of asking who you fall under and the response you're supposed to give. Then you have, a code and NBA. So if they just wrote, if you find some ledgers or mail in the jail where they write NBA, they're not talking about basketball. They're talking about the National Blood Association. And then here you have what they gave as the name to the ranking system. So GF is the godfather. They call him the general manager. And this is what I said. It changes from set to set because there might be a set that won't call it the general manager. They'll call him whatever. It could call him anything. It's up to each set to do it, and it could change. It's not written in stone. The high is the next step under that. We call him the head coach. In this specific Bible, the low is 5-star general, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, and 1-star generals.
Okay. In terms of, is there then laws that are set out for the purposes of G-Shine?
Yeah, so the original laws were written for the UBN. G-Shine adopted the same laws. Those are the original 30 laws. Blood in, blood out, you get jumped in. Sometimes, and like I said, there's exceptions to every rule. Sometimes you get blessed in. So voted in by committee, you're putting in work, that's another way of getting in. No snitching, that's an important rule. No punking out. No backing down from a fight, basically. No homosexuality is very common in the gang world.
Can you translate? You made a comment about being blessed in. Can you just explain that? Because I don't think you've defined that yet.
So blessed in is when you didn't really put in any work and someone within the organization is just vouching for you. And just saying, hey, this guy's going to be one of us. They bring you in. You don't get jumped in. You don't have to put in. You didn't put any work in. You didn't do anything. They just brought you in. They brought you home. That's terms that they would use. But the most commonly used term is blessed in.
Okay. On some of them, like no flu wearing or yellow back.
I don't know. I have no idea.
So there are some things that even law enforcement has yet to decipher.
Yeah, there's certain. I said that I think earlier that there's certain codes that just don't make any sense to me. There's certain tattoos that don't make any sense. I just see them over and over and over again on bloods, and I know it means something to them. I just haven't figured out yet what it means, and sometimes they don't answer.
Number 11, that's indicated here, cross out all C's and replace with B's, K's, or X's. Did you see evidence of that in the phone belonging to the phone number 772-713-9807?
Yes.
Oh, was that in private communications?
Private communications and public posts that were posted from that phone.
Okay. And items number 16 and 17. Is that a common rule to basically don't admit anything?
This is what I was talking about, where the Bibles are held in secrecy, right? So that's why I send them through email, because typically you can't just find someone's email laying on the floor, right? That's not a thing. You can find documents laying on the floor at a search warrant, but to get an email, you would have to write a search warrant for Gmail or iCloud or whoever. So that's why they send out these Bibles a lot in email form.
Okay.
To keep it secret.
The last one on this page, never take another person's side over your homie. What is a homie?
Homie is a member of your set, a member of your blood set. So just because it wouldn't just be any blood, it would just be a blood within your organization, within your lineup, within your set.
Okay. Again, more of the laws 20 through 30. Okay. And number 27 on this list.
No black on black crimes unless someone violates your set, code, and colors. You gotta respect. That's like the biggest thing in the gang world is respect. With every gang, respect is. If you don't have respect, that's one of those things that could get you killed. And that's been documented over and over and over again.
Okay. And the next thing, it says oath/red alert. What is that?
The oath, it's one of the, most gangs have that create an oath. This will be one of those things that you have to memorize verbatim, and when you're being quizzed, you're going to be asked to recite these things. This is one of the things you'll be asked to recite. At some point, you'll be expected to memorize all these rules. At some point, you'll be expected to memorize all your creed. They call it levels, so levels of knowledge. And if you assert that you're, let's say, at a certain level of knowledge, and you get tested up to that level of knowledge, and you failed, then you're going to get violated. Now, if you say you're at a certain level of knowledge, and they test you, and you get quizzed, and you answer everything correct, then you're doing just fine.
Okay, so you had mentioned that there were other different sections and hoods. Are those some of the ones that you had previously mentioned? The 9 tray?
Yeah, so the original founders of the UBN, OG Mac and Leonard and McKenzie, they created all these. Well, these gangs existed within the system, within the prison system. They just didn't have these names. Little by little, like it happened in California, where the neighborhood gangs started joining into the Bloods, they then changed their names for something that aligned with the Bloods. So these are the original sets. The dates, they're as accurate as I can tell based on not just interviews, but all the other documents that we've ever recovered have the dates are pretty consistent. So that these are things that you'll almost never get wrong, unless you find a Bible from a jail, from a brand new member of the Bloods who's trying to learn, and he's just writing it down, trying to memorize this stuff, because the easiest way to memorize stuff is just keep writing it down, especially if you're sitting in jail.
In terms of, it says greeting and replies, are those some of the types of knowledge an individual could be quizzed on?
Yeah, you could, and you don't even know you're being quizzed on it. This is something that happened in one of our undercover cases. Our undercover was this first time being a glutton, so he didn't answer some of these greetings correctly.
Okay, so going down to almost the bottom of the page where it says on there, rise and shine. What is the proper response if someone says rise and shine?
I shine, you shine, we shine, G shine. It's a very popular G shine saying.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be exact, right? So if you, it could be like variation of it, like right there, I shine, you shine, right? It's not exactly like the other one.
Okay. And in terms of, it says these are meanings, not replies. So if someone says this, is this kind of more the dictionary part of it?
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like some of these dictionaries, it just, the answers, or the definitions to the word, to the codes is other codes. And it's just, unless you have the person in front of you that wrote that, you probably won't be able to decipher it.
Okay. And this continues on in this with different
Codes.
Okay. And reviewing these codes, are they consistent with some of the other gang knowledge that's been recovered and that you have learned about?
Yeah, it's, except for some of the, obviously some of the codes are different because codes are updated periodically. For the most part, a lot of these have continued to be used.
Okay. And so there's some of the terms you've already defined, like set tripping. Is 1965 on that list.
Yeah.
Is this something that they continue to evolve over the years?
The code?
Yes.
It could, if big indictments come down and a lot of people, if a big indictment comes down, like recently sex, money, murder got indicted, and I think it was a lot of people got arrested on that indictment. We have an active investigation where we know they've completely restructured everything. They're restructuring their Bibles, they're restructuring their chain of command, they're restructuring all the rules. So it's how they evolve.
And so
after law enforcement has gotten hip to whatever is already out.
And so on the bottom of this, it says G slang. What is that translated to?
Speaking codes.
And continuing on to the next page. Do you have all of these memorized?
No.
Okay.
I've tried. Trust me, I've tried. But between this and all the other games have the same thing going on. A couple hundred pages of that, it's impossible.
Okay. So that's the end of the first email, the forwarded email.
Adam, maybe a first person.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need a few minutes with the attorney. Do not discuss the case. Don't nominate anyone about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case. Be present, certain no research. Just leave your notepads on your chairs. We'll be back with you shortly.